Hi, welcome. Today I will show you one of the most aggressive games ever. This game is amazing and is one of my personal favorites. So I'm talking about the game between Blackburn and Gifford. The game has been played in 1874 and will show how to attack on the king's side. So let's jump to our video. But before that, did you know that almost 87% of the viewers isn't subscribed? Why don't you like me? I am a good person and my goal is to help you. And to do that, I don't ask too much. I just need you to subscribe. Subscribe, push the like button. If you're enjoying the contents, you can always push the notifications on. And well, if you want to help this channel to grow too, and if you have any suggestions, you can always put on the comments below, and critics too. I know that my accent isn't the best, but I'm trying to evolve. So thanks, let's go. So about our player, Blackburn. Blackburn was a monster on those days. He was too strong. And first, we will talk a little bit about him. So, Joseph Henry Blackburne, the Black Dad, this was his nickname. Why is that? Because he was very aggressive. He had a long black beard and, well, because of the disease too. On those days, the disease was killing a lot of persons. So, Blackburn was born at 1841 and he quickly became a very strong player. So this guy was a professional chess player and he competed for about 50 years and he has done more than 100,000 games. I think it's correct. And some of the players that he has defeated is William Steinitz. Steinitz was the first world champion, and he has won this guy. The truth is that this guy was the number 2 of Steinitz. And he was one of the 5 best players in the world for almost 20 years. And one small curiosity, this guy enjoyed a lot to drink whiskey, so he had a problem of alcoholism, and one day his opponent has forgotten his glass with whiskey, and he told, my opponent left this glass of whiskey on please, and I took it en passant. Exists a lot of histories about his problems with the drinking. Another example is the simultaneous exhibition that he has done on one university. So the students as think that, okay, this guy is alcoholic, so we are going to buy 2 bottles of whiskey and we will offer him and he will drink and we will win our games. So yeah, they have done that. They offered the 2 bottles of whiskey and Blackburn, well, very well. He has drunk before the start of the exhibition the 2 bottles, the 2 bottles. Do you know what happened next? Simple. Blackburn has won all the games quickly because this guy was a monster. He was too strong. So later he died with 82 years old, but that the problems I think wasn't related with the alcoholism. He died from a heart attack. So let's see our game. So about Blackburn, just before the game, sorry, because I remembered another information. I think it's important for you. This guy, according to the chess metrics, this guy was a very strong player because he has been the number 2, and according to this site, his level at his peak was 2748. So we are talking about the 19th century. So this isn't normal to have this kind of values. And on those days, he had 44 years old, almost 45 years old. About his career performances, He had several performances above 2700, and about his standings over the world, here you can see that he was always at the top. So the game we will see is on those days, so in 1870 something. So as you are seeing, number 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, always 2, 5, 4, 5. So this guy was very, 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 very strong. So for me, this was the last good romantic player. So you will enjoy a lot this game. This is beautiful. It's like art for me. So let's jump. Now we can start. So this game has been played in 1874, and his opponent wasn't weak. Henry Gifford was a chess master, and according to the data that I analyzed, Henry Gifford was the first unofficial Netherlands champion, because he had another nationality, I think. So he was born at Australia, and Joseph Blackburne was British. So about the game, let's start. So here, of course, Blackburn was attacking player, so he started with e4, and after e5 knight, he will continue with the Scottish opening. This continued with pawn takes, and after that, bishop has played to c4. So this is the Scottish gambit. I enjoyed a lot to play this opening because it's aggressive and you can attack very quickly. And if your opponent made some mistake, the game will be over because you have quick developments and you give material to win the game. So it's very beautiful. So here, Black has played bishop to c5. And here, of course, we are talking about a game of the 19th century. On those days, he had played knight to g5. It's very direct and interesting, and the goal is to create pressure on the f7 square. But nowadays, if you want to play this kind of opening, I recommend you just to play c3, because it's interesting, it's aggressive too, you create pressure on the center, and the pawn cannot take. It's not good for Black to take, because bishop takes on f7, of course. For the computers, they say, oh, okay, this is playable, but for Black, probably the Black player won't be satisfied to play this position, because after king, for example, plays here, again, queen check, pawn advances, queen takes, and this is complicated for Black because of the king's security. So this king cannot castle, so this will be already a complicated game. And of course, this idea is never possible because bishop takes creates pressure on the rook, and after knight f6, this will be just complicated because you can castle, your king is secure, and this king will never be secure. So, but this hasn't happened, and he has played knight e5. And the thing is, okay, this is a miniature, but I want to analyze this very well with you, because here we have this idea and this idea. Here, Gifford will play the best idea, is knight h6, but it's important to know why this isn't good. Well, the idea is that if knight plays to e5, here we have knight takes f7, attacking the queen and the rook, and after knight takes, bishop takes, king takes, we have this check, and we will take the bishop because the bishop is unprotected. Why is that good? Well, this is good because now we are attacking the pawn, so we will win material, because this kind of answer is never good because we are continuing our lead on the development. And don't forget, this king is exposed, so this isn't easy for Black. So, of course, here, Gifford hasn't played this move. And when I analyzed this game the first time, I think, okay, knight h6, why can I do the same? It's different because if I do the same here, because he hasn't played that. He has played knight h5. We will see next. If we sacrifice here, exists a small, it isn't small, a big difference. That is the knight. This knight exists, and because of that, I won't be able to take the pawn. Because of that, the truth is that black is better, because this pawn is controlling important central squares. So this position is playable, but in my opinion, it's easier for black because of the presence of the pawn. So Blackburn, because of the fact he was a strong player, he has played queen h5. Interesting stuff, because he is increasing the pressure on the pawn of f7. Because, of course, he just have two defenders, and I have three attackers. So here, of course, black has answered with, in my opinion, the only possible move, because queen e7 creates pressure on the pawn too. And okay, if we analyze this in detail, black is better because we are attacking first and developing next. We are doing an all-in to attack. But the truth is that most of times when a good player attacks like that, probably most opponents will fall. They will commit blunders and they will lose the game. So here, Blackburn is a romantic player. So he doesn't want to protect his king. He wants to attack. He wants to create problems to his opponent. He wants to remain with the initiative. So he has played f4. Interesting stuff, because after f4, here it's important for black to do one move. If black doesn't do this move, the position will be more complicated. And here black has castled. And okay, it's a position slightly better for black, but the best move would be d5. d5, on a positional point of view, it's very interesting because, of course, the pawn cannot take because he's pinned. And after bishop takes, the idea is just to play knight b4, creating pressure on the bishop and on the pawn of c2. And you're thinking, oh, okay, but bishop can go to b3. Yeah, true. But here exists one beautiful detail. According to the computers, bishop g5 is already complicated, but I like a lot the idea of d3. Because if pawn takes, knight takes check, and the white king is exposed to. Sorry, so this is complicated. And of course, Gifford hasn't seen that. And instead of this move, he has improved his security for his king. And the thing is that, okay, black is slightly better, but we have potential. For me, it's obvious, because the knight is at h6, it's lateralized. This is never good. And okay, about the center, exists considerable pressure on the pawn. So here, Blackburn has solved all the problems with castle kingside. And after that, black has continued not with d5. d5 is always the best move, but with d6. So he was lazing on the calculations, I think, probably, because d5 was always interesting to develop quickly and win the initiative. So here, Blackburn will attack with everything he has. And this is the best move, f5. What is the idea? Very simple. He's threatening to advance the pawn, and he wants to solve the problem of g7. If the pawn goes elsewhere, he will be able to take the knight. For example, pawn advances, pawn takes, knight sacrifices, king takes, and then queen takes, or even bishop takes. These are all plans. This is complicated for black. So here, black has continued with d3, I think is reasonable because he is giving a check, but is not good for black. Here, probably the best idea would be just to play queen f6 to prevent the advancing of the pawn. Because the thing is that white wants to advance his pawn, and we need to think about a prophylactic way to solve this problem. So after this advance, of course, king to h1, and now the pawn will take on c2. And of course, we are talking about a romantic player, but this guy has principles. This guy, on those days, was a good endgame player. So he continued with knight c3 to plan knight d5. He wants to attack. He wants to increase the pressure on f6, sorry, and with that he will have a very strong attack on the king side. So here Gifford continued with knight to e5, and after, of course, knight d5 attacking the queen. Here black will continue with queen d8. Of course, here it exists only one move, f6. And the thing is that if pawn takes, of course, queen takes. If pawn advances, we can take too. And this game is beautiful because it seems easy, but it isn't. Because if it was easy, everyone was doing that, and no one does that. So Blackburn was the genius. And after knight to g6, here white has already a strong compensation for the opening and for the material. So here, of course, pawn takes and king takes. And the thing is that the only defender of the knight is the king. And here we already have several tactical ways of winning this position. If you want to practice your tactical play, please put on pause, think a little bit, and then click on play. Because here, Blackburn will destroy completely his opponent with queen takes knight. Too strong this move. Of course, if king goes to g8, queen takes checkmate, so it's over. So it's mandatory to take. And now, how will we continue this variation? You may be thinking about knight takes, giving check. Or even this, or that, or this, or that. But it's important to do the correct move. And here, Blackburn has played the most accurate move. Knight e6, check. So, bishop is attacking the king, the knight is attacking the king, the queen, sorry, and very important, the knight is blocking the square on g7 and the square on g5. So this means that this guy will need to play to h5. Let's go. Now, how will we continue this game? Yeah, we want to give checkmate in 3 moves, and Blackburn has saw the idea. So, very easy. Here, Blackburn will just play bishop e2, check. And the thing is that this square and this square are blocked because the bishop and the knight are attacking those squares. The bishop are blocking this diagonal, of course, and this means this king will need to play to h4. Now, how can we give checkmate in 2 moves? We have just one way of winning this game with checkmate. Can you solve it? This could be a study, but it isn't. This happened on the chessboard. Blackburn was a genius. So here, Blackburn will give up more material. So he is already losing by 8 points. But if you have checkmate, you don't need to be worried about your material. So, rook f4, check. And of course, this isn't available. Any of those squares aren't available. So it's necessary to take with the knight. And now we will finish this game with g3, check. Don't forget, those squares aren't available because of the knight and the white bishop. So this king needs to play to h3, and after that, knight takes knight is checkmate. Too strong, this guy. Joseph Blackburne was a completely genius. It's a shame that he never reached the first position, but well, we have several great games of this guy, and when he had, I think, 56 years old, he played the world champion Lasker, and he won Lasker on official game. So Blackburn adds all the potential to be a world champion. I don't know why he didn't won the first place. Probably because of the alcohol. I don't know, because he competed for about 50 years. He had the potential, he had the level, and his games were brilliant. 100,000 games. It's a lot of material. And he has written one book, and I think at 2015, I think, has been created another book about his best games with almost 1,000 games of him. So if you want, you can search about the Blackburn's book. Is very good, a lot of great material. So for today, it's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for all the support that you have been giving me by comments and messages. And tomorrow I will be here again to bring you more material. Thanks a lot again, and till tomorrow. Bye bye.